Over recent years, the military cooperation between Vietnam and the United States has notably heightened, despite their historically tumultuous relationship. This escalation is viewed with a mixture of apprehension and appreciation by various observers. Critics argue that Vietnam should always remember its past, maintaining a cautious approach towards the US. However, others commend the growing partnership, attributing it to several key reasons. These include the pressing need for regional security, especially concerning the South China Sea, and Vietnam's present push to upgrade its military prowess. This burgeoning alliance has resulted in significant strides forward. A particularly noteworthy milestone was the US lifting its arms embargo on Vietnam in 2016, paving the way for further military collaboration. Other advancements include high-level defense dialogues, joint military drills, and the US backing Vietnam's peacekeeping operations. These developments collectively suggest a promising future for Vietnam-US military cooperation. To comprehend the growing dynamics between the US and Vietnam, we must address the most important reason: regional security. One of the key drivers of this growing military relationship is the mutual concern about China's rise. Vietnam, a neighbor of China, has long-standing territorial disputes with Beijing in the South China Sea. The US, on the other hand, views China as its primary strategic competitor. This shared apprehension about China's increasing assertiveness has brought the US and Vietnam closer together. The nuanced relationship between two nations, however, extends beyond surface-level interactions and delves into the depths of history and regional contexts, necessitating a more robust understanding. Vietnam, a country historically shadowed by Chinese occupation and influence, has frequently found itself in conflict with its opposing neighbor. The tension is especially visible in the ongoing territorial disputes in the South China Sea, where China's broad territorial assertions have incited disagreements with several Southeast Asian nations, including Vietnam. The South China Sea is not just about territorial claims, though. It is a strategically significant waterway through which trillions of dollars in trade passes annually. The sea is also believed to be rich in natural resources, including oil and gas. Therefore, maintaining freedom of navigation and overflight in this region is of significant interest to many countries, including the US. For Vietnam, the dispute with China in the South China Sea has resulted in occasional flare-ups of tension and even conflict. The 2014 Haiyanshio 981 standoff, where a Chinese oil rig was positioned in waters claimed by Vietnam, is a case in point. The incident sparked a diplomatic crisis between the two countries and led to anti-China protests in Vietnam. It is in this context that the US, which has been a vocal critic of China's assertive behavior in the South China Sea, has emerged as a potential counterbalance. The US has consistently called for the peaceful resolution of disputes, respect for international law, and the maintenance of freedom of navigation and overflight in the China Sea. It has also conducted freedom of navigation operations in the region to challenge China's maritime claims. Vietnam, for its part, has welcomed the US's engagement in the region. It sees the US as a stabilizing force that can help to balance China's power. However, Vietnam has also been cautious not to antagonize China. It has avoided directly aligning itself with the US against China, preferring instead to maintain a balanced approach. The US's support for Vietnam in its dispute with China is not just about the South China Sea, though. It is also about the broader strategic competition between the US and China. The US, under its Indo-Pacific strategy, is seeking to build a network of partners and allies to counterbalance China's rise. Vietnam, with its growing economy, strategic location, and historical wariness of China, is seen as a potential partner in this effort. However, it is important to note that the US-Vietnam military relationship is not just about countering China. It is also about building a stable and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. The US and Vietnam share a common interest in promoting peace, stability, and prosperity in the region. This includes dealing with non-traditional security challenges such as natural disasters, piracy, and transnational crime. As we navigate through the intricate layers of the Vietnam-US military relationship, it's crucial to remember that in today's interconnected world, not all threats are tangible, and not all defenses are physical. This brings us to the sponsor of today's discussion, Atlas VPN. Imagine a world where your digital defenses are as robust and sophisticated as a nation's military. With Atlas VPN, that world is only $1.83 a month away, with an added bonus of 3 extra months free and an ironclad 30-day money-back guarantee. Atlas VPN is not just your regular VPN service, it's your digital defense system. It constantly deflects malicious links, ads, trackers, and alerts you if cyber thieves try to breach your data, much like a vigilant digital sentinel. In the world of geopolitics, access to information is power. With Atlas VPN, you can teleport your online presence to access your favorite Netflix shows from anywhere in the world. It's the key to a borderless world of content, where friends is only a click away, regardless of your location. Just as strategic resources and deals can shape geopolitical alliances, Atlas VPN turns your online shopping into a treasure hunt, unveiling hidden deals on subscriptions, flights, hotels, and more. Your online searches should be as confidential as top-secret military operations. With Atlas VPN, you can enjoy a private web experience with unfiltered search results and zero tracking. As we delve deeper into the nature of Vietnam-US military cooperation, the focus shifts to the topic of equipment sales. The lifting of the US arms embargo in 2016, a landmark decision, opened up a new dimension in the partnership between the two nations. Vietnam, in its pursuit of modernizing its military capabilities, has found a new source of advanced defense technology from the United States. Prior to lifting the embargo, Vietnam primarily depended on Russia for its military hardware. The entrance of the US into this equation diversifies Vietnam's defense procurement and reduces its reliance on a single supplier. This move wasn't just beneficial for Vietnam. For the US, it represented an opportunity to increase its influence in the region and counterbalance China's growing clout. Additionally, it also offered a chance for American defense contractors to access a new and growing market. However, despite the potential benefits, the actual progress in arms sales has been relatively slow. This is partially due to Vietnam's limited defense budget, as well as the country's traditionally cautious approach in foreign policy, particularly regarding the US. Hence why Vietnam, as of 2022, has only acquired a fair bit of defense equipment from the United States so far. These may include, but are not limited to, naval cutters, Texan trainer aircrafts, and Boeing Scan Eagle reconnaissance drones. Moreover, while foreign policy, a limited defense budget, and an over-reliance on Russian equipment is still in play, there too are other issues in the area. These issues are related to high costs, human rights issues in Vietnam, and so on. Another factor is the compatibility of American systems with Vietnam's existing, primarily Russian, arsenal. Integrating new American technology with the current Russian equipment poses significant logistical challenges. Yet, the potential for future growth in this area is undeniable. As Vietnam continues to upgrade its military capabilities and the US maintain its pivot towards Asia, the conditions are ripe for an increase in defense equipment sales. This aspect of their cooperation underscores the multifaceted nature of the Vietnam-US military relationship, revealing yet another layer of strategic depth in their evolving partnership. Now that we've established the geopolitical factors driving the US-Vietnam military relationship, let's take a closer look at the actual components of this cooperation. There's a common misconception that military ties are solely about weapon sales and joint military exercises. But in reality, the scope of these ties is much broader and nuanced. Firstly, let's talk about defense equipment and technology. The US ban on lethal weapons sales to Vietnam was fully lifted in 2016. Since then, Vietnam has shown interest in acquiring US defense equipment, including maritime security and surveillance technologies, which could help enhance its capabilities in the South China Sea. However, the progress in this area has been relatively slow, mainly due to Vietnam's limited defense budget and its traditional reliance on Russian military equipment. Secondly, there's an aspect of joint military exercises. The US and Vietnam have been conducting joint naval exercises, such as the annual Naval Engagement Activity, for several years now. These exercises involve activities such as maritime security drills, search and rescue operations, and medical readiness training. Vietnam also participated for the first time in the US-led Rim of the Pacific exercise, the world's largest international maritime exercise. But cooperation extends beyond just joint exercises and equipment. Capacity building is a key component of the US-Vietnam military relationship. The US has been providing training and technical assistance to the Vietnam People's Army, the Vietnam Coast Guard, and other Vietnamese security forces. This includes training in areas such as maritime law enforcement, disaster response, and peacekeeping operations. The US has also been supporting Vietnam in its efforts to join United Nations peacekeeping operations, Since 2014, Vietnamese military officers have been participating in US-funded training courses on peacekeeping. Vietnam deployed its first peacekeeping contingent to South Sudan in 2018, a milestone that was achieved with US assistance. Another area of cooperation is humanitarian and legacy issues. The US and Vietnam have been working together to address the consequences of the Vietnam War and the removal of unexploded ordnance. These efforts have not only helped to heal the wounds of the war, but have also built trust and goodwill between the two countries. In the final analysis, the evolving military cooperation between Vietnam and the United States is an intricate tapestry, woven with threads of mutual interests, geopolitical considerations, and historical context. Undeniably, the increasing assertiveness of China in the South China Sea has acted as a catalyst, accelerating the pace of this cooperation. Yet it is important to recognize that this military relationship is not solely aimed at countering Beijing's influence. It is also about enhancing regional security, modernizing Vietnam's defense capabilities, and fostering a peaceful and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. The lifting of the US arms embargo on Vietnam in 2016 was a crucial turning point that opened up new avenues for defense collaboration. Even though the progress in defense equipment sales has been low, the potential for growth in the future is substantial. The ongoing joint military exercises, capacity-building initiatives, and cooperation on humanitarian issues further illustrate the multifaceted nature of this relationship. While some critics view this growing partnership with apprehension, it's clear that it serves the strategic interests of both countries. For the US, it bolsters its Indo-Pacific strategy and provides a counterbalance to China's rise. For Vietnam, it enhances its security, reduces its dependence on a single defense supplier, and allows it to play a more active role in regional affairs. However, navigating this relationship will require deft diplomacy, given Vietnam's traditional non-alignment policy and its delicate relationship with China. The challenge for both countries is to deepen their military cooperation while avoiding exacerbating regional tensions. But anyway, do let us know what you think, and thanks for watching.